He represents Wisconsin's 7th District, Wausau and Superior, and he is a freshman member of the House, came as part of the Tea Party class, and we're going to talk to him about how his accomplishments have fared in this first term. I have the Wisconsin State Journal this morning, Congressman. Headlines on across the top: 5,900 jobs lost in April. This is the government's monthly jobs report. This is for your state. What's the key?
Well,
bringing jobs back.
I think most people understand that we have some things going on in Wisconsin right now with the governor's recalls. The election meeting they held June 5th, and we just had a report come out earlier this week as well, readjusting the estimates from 2011. They had estimated that we had lost jobs, but we now found out once all the actual numbers came in, we had actually gained, I believe it was 25,000 jobs over the year of 2011. We're in a situation where you need to open up your state. You need to have a pro-growth policy in place. And I think Governor Walker has set out those policies where he's restructuring our tax code, trying to make it easier for businesses to set up shop. His motto is Wisconsin is open for business. And frankly, I think it is. It's been a tough economic environment like everywhere in the country. But we have seen a lot of job growth in our district, businesses that are choosing to come to Wisconsin instead of many other states around the country. So I haven't seen the details behind the number yet, but I know that things are tough, but they're looking up.
Well, job growth in your district, we will pull some numbers and tell us if we have this right, but Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers, national unemployment rate 8.1%, Wisconsin 6.8, lower than the nation, and Ashland County, which is your area, is higher, 10.3.
Right.
What's the major source of jobs in your district?
Well, so the district outside of all part of 20 counties. So to look at Wisconsin's 7th congressional district, it is 20 counties, the northwest quarter of the state, and we have some counties that fare better than others. We have a lot of manufacturing, farming, forest products in our area. But up in Ashland, that's where I was the DA up there for 10 years. There are some troubled economic times. One of our frustrations is that we have a vein of iron ore. And we wanted to have our state legislature move through a bill that would allow mining on that vein of ore. It would have created thousands of good-paying Wisconsin jobs. And the legislature wasn't able to put it together. And in an area where people make $30,000, $40,000 a year, to be able to have this mine come into play, it would have had a huge impact on the region. And so that's the frustrating point when legislatures can't work together to make sure jobs are created within our communities.
As you heard in the green room, we spent the first 45 minutes talking to the audience about the debt limit. If you were to cast a vote on it before this session ends, what would it take to get your vote on raising it?
Well, first of all, you can't balance our American budget within a day. So if you don't raise the debt limit, you have to find 42 cents of savings within the budget. And it's almost impossible to do that. So you're going to have to find a way to raise the debt limit. My concern, though, is there's no end in sight of this. And if we don't deal with it today, our creditors are going to deal with us at some point down the road. So we have to have a plan that's going to put us on a trajectory to balance, to sustainability. And I think that's what we tried to do last year. That's what we're trying to do this year. Let's put policies in place that bring down our spending levels so at one point in the future we can balance. And if we have that plan in place, I'm okay giving us that grace period with the raising of the debt limit to get us there. My frustration is that if you continue to just raise the debt limit and you don't put a plan in place to deal with it, this never ends. And there's going to be a debt crisis, a fiscal crisis that comes, I don't know if it's in 1 year or 4 years, but it is on our horizon. So I think it's incumbent upon every legislator to come together and put out their ideas, their plan on how we fix this growing cancer in the country.
Well, these are the themes that your entire GOP freshman class, particularly those who are supported the Tea Party, came to Congress with. How do you think you've done this year?
Well, first of all, I have the support of the Tea Party, but I have the support of Democrats, and Independents, and Republicans. We had a lot of support to win our district. Absolutely. I think there was a rude awakening for us when we got here. We thought we could change the world, but we quickly realized we didn't have a Senate that saw things the way we did. And the president, unlike Bill Clinton, didn't come to the center. He went further to the left. And we weren't able to find this bond on how we come together on balancing the budget. And we all realized, listen, just because you control the House of Representatives, it doesn't from a president that's been unwilling to join us in this effort to fix the budget problem. And it even goes back to his budget. The one last year and the one this year, they never balanced. And at some point, I think it's incumbent that you share with the American people what your plan is to actually balance the budget. We've done that last year and we've done it this year. And I think if you look at the greatest impact we've had, it is 87 freshmen coming to Washington saying we want to go bold. We want to put a plan out that will show the American people one way that we can balance the budget at some point in the future. And we were able to do that with Congressman Paul Ryan, also from Wisconsin. We had the political in the caucus to get that done last year and this year. So at least we're taking bold votes, telling the American people where we have to go. And if they give us the option at some point in the future, we're going to get it done.
Do you have the sense that voters are going to be satisfied with the explanation that we didn't have the Senate and the President didn't support it?
Well, yeah, I think that people understand that this isn't a dictatorship. It's a representative democracy. You need both chambers and the President to work together. And they see that we've put out full plans. They see that we're working to fix the problems that we face. I mean, we really are the only game in town when it comes to fiscal responsibility and trying to balance the budget. No one else is putting out proposals. As you're well aware, Susan, the Senate hasn't put out a budget in over 3 years. So how can we fix the problem if we have the Senate that's not even willing to put out a budget? And I think American people understand that. And I think coming in this election cycle, I think those who have been unwilling to participate in the debate and the conversation and the planning to fix this problem will pay for that at the polls.
Since most people say that the biggest budget problems are caused by the aging baby boomers and the stress on the Medicare and Social Security systems, what are your philosophical thoughts about looking at those two major programs?
Yeah, so we try to deal with that in our budget once. To talk about Medicare, I think we first have to talk about what the President's plan was in Obamacare or PACA, healthcare reform. The President, what he did is he took $500 billion out of Medicare to use for Obamacare, zapping a program that's already under financial pressure. But then what the President does to balance the pressure on Medicare is he sets up the Independent Payment Advisory Board, the IPAD board. And what this board is a board of 15 unelected bureaucrats that are going to look at where they can save money within Medicare. They're going to save money by reducing reimbursements to hospitals, doctors, and clinics. And if you reduce reimbursements that are already low, you're going to see doctors, hospitals, and clinics not able to provide the same quality, the same access to care for our current seniors. And so what they've done is they're trying to balance the Medicare budget on the back of our current seniors. I fundamentally think that's wrong. You have to give your seniors the promise they bargained for. They've gone into their retirement understanding they were going to have a certain benefit. And you can't take that away. So with our plan, what we've done in the House, as we said, listen, if you're 55 or older, you get the traditional Medicare plan. We put the $500 billion back in. We do away with this rationing board, and we give you what you bargained for. We make modifications for a future generation, those who are 54 and younger. And what we do is we set up exchanges where people have choice. We create competition. We put the decisions in the hands of patients and families instead of bureaucrats out here in Washington. We give premium support, a lot of support to poor Americans and older Americans. Those who are wealthier, like Mr. Zuckerberg from Facebook, who we've heard a lot about this week, they'll get far less support. And by doing that, this is the only plan that actually saves Medicare, preserves it for our current retirees, but saves it for future generations, and it protects the whole system, and we think that's important. We're the only plan in the game that actually saves it. Even the President's plan in Obamacare, in PACA, it never resolves the problem. It still goes broke in 10 years, even with the ration board in place. So that's what we've chosen to do.
Okay, we've got lots of live clips